Hey, welcome back, FPL fans. Another episode of Big Points Theory. Suj, Game Week 29 rather. Fantastic, brilliant, genius, I'm of course talking about the points, specifically 3 points.
From United. Is
Yeah,
we
yeah, for
shall
sure,
wrap
man.
up all the things that we got. We need to have all of this. You know what? From that game, I would say United are back to fantasy relevant.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. Well, speaking about fantasy relevance, just looking at the FPL site here, most transferred in Aubameyang.
Ah,
Yeah, that worked out fairly well.
I-
Yeah. That second game, that people were counting on, after his miserable first game again. So Arsenal v City has been postponed, right?
yeah.
Okay. So fantastic to all the people that have him as captain, and he came on. And then there are some other people perhaps that might have had City coverage, and they are even better, obviously. People like that picked like De Bruyne and whatever. But if you picked Salah, then you were rewarded. I think 1.4 million managers had him as captain. If you had him as vice captain, that would have been good as well. But if you were somebody who had lots of points on your bench, I'm sure you must be really happy by now. Wink, wink, G. Yeah. So before we go to our form picks, I just want to put it out there. Game week 31 is going to be a very short week. There's only 4 fixtures. So I think in the next episode, what we'll do is just focus specifically on those 4 fixtures and then see who you'll pick from each team, right?
Yeah.
Instead of our usual picking from the form players and whatnot. So,
Yeah.
yeah, let's move on to our form players. And the reason I'm maybe wearing this lovely, nice, warm top, I even forgot how it feels,
You had to go dig it out from somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. So we've got our form picks here, and it's if you see a few people from only one team, do not be alarmed. This is completely normal. So we've got Martial, we've got Jota, and we've got Barnes. I'm surprised to see Barnes on this list. But let's start with Martial. I mean, the inside scoop here is that Martial's really not been like the most popular player from United fans specifically. They've been slagging him off with his inability to finish and stuff like that. But yet he's now become just the second United player to score in 3 successive Manchester derbies.
after after certain Eric Cantona. So he's getting himself some good books there, don't you think?
Yeah, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
look, this is no fluke. He's started recently against Chelsea, Watford, and City.
Yeah,
So he's on some good scoring form. He seems to be playing much better now that Fernandes is around. It's almost like he just needed someone to assist his goals. So almost like he needed a excuse that he wasn't finishing before. But with Tottenham coming up on Sunday, I'm almost sure their leaky defense will be able to score a few goals against them. So I think I'm going to go for a yes as a captain for Martial. He's already got a goal and an assist against Tottenham. So
yeah.
he's got the form and he's got the record against Tottenham. So if you have him, I would say yes for captain.
Yeah, 16th on the XG table. It doesn't really tell the story of what's happening with him. I mean, if you remember the one chance in the game he could have just he had an easy pathway to allowing Fernandes to score a goal, but he didn't make the pass there. And I mean, even the goal he did take came off his shin, but he's clearly there and thereabouts.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I would also say maybe I would pick him as captain, especially when you look at Tottenham's. Yeah, I mean like Tottenham's recent record: loss, 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 draw. That's their last 5 games.
And last night they lost and got knocked out of the Champions League. So what more do you need?
Ah, I didn't even watch that. Shame, shame. Then I'm looking at our United's last 5 games against Tottenham. In those 5, last 6 games. It looks like United won 4 of them and lost just one. No, it is 5. Excuse me. And then out of that 5, basically United won 4 of those, and that was 2 at home and 2 away. So to me, I really don't see, at this moment in time, I think there's high confidence. I don't see United losing that game, even though it is. I think it's away, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, Martial definitely a contender. Jota blanked game week 29 Such, and we did back him a little.
Yeah. Look, it wasn't in a fluke. I mean, it was Brighton that played extremely well to cut off the supply to Jimenez and Jota.
Yeah.
But I mean, with the blank coming up, I would still say he's in contention for a transfer in, but not as a captain.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
I've had him for the last 4 games where he's got those 3 goals and 2 assists. But I don't know. It seems like maybe this Europa League will also play a part in the next couple of games. And with West Ham on the up at the moment, I don't think captaining him would be the right thing. But bringing him in would be for the blank gaming.
Yeah, for sure. Look, I'm also highly skeptical of him. I would definitely stick with Jimenez or trust Jimenez. I mean, yes, he is 8.4 compared to Jota's 8.0 versus Jota's 6.4. But I mean, Jimenez has basically returned a goal or assist in 16 of his 28 starts. That's basically 57%, and his points per match is 5.1. So to me, if you were captaining anyone from the Wolves team, it would be Jimenez. And then moving on to Barnes, I'm actually surprised to see Barnes on here, not a certain Darth someone. But just to put it out there, Sarr from Watford was actually ranked higher in the forms list. But I just feel like the Watford's form and whatnot, you can't really justify his inclusion. So this might be actually a better pick.
You don't really know which Watford is going to turn up, the one that played against United or the one that played against Liverpool.
Yes.
Up in the air. So yeah. I just feel that Barnes he's justified his place on this list here because, I mean, the last 4 games he got 2 goals and 1 assist, but he's been slowly building up form against the bigger teams that he's played. And on Monday night, he was like topping the charts for shots in the box, and efforts on target. And a big fat 19 points later, whoever had him, thank you, would be very proud that they did have him because the likes of Madison and Perez then didn't pay out at all.
Oh,
this
yeah.
guy very cheap. So captain, no, but transfer in, yes.
Okay. Moving on to our usual suspects here, and I'm a bit confused here. Mane and Fernandes, yes. Sterling, what is he doing? What is this? Is this a list of back people in the back pockets, or what's going on here? No, wait, that's right. That's clearly not right. Yeah. There we go. Okay. Yo, trying to fool me. Let's start with Mane. I mean, of course, Salah performed like he was supposed to. Mane did too, and I even might say he performed better.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And the reason why I got him on here instead of Salah is also with like Jota. The guys are chasing mini leagues, and at the moment with the virus, we don't know if they're going to end the league pretty soon. So Maverick choices on captain, or maybe not too Maverick if you go with Mane, but Maverick choices like Barnes and Jota would be justified. But coming back to this year, I've been an advocate the whole season of Mane. I just feel that if he plays the same amount of games as Salah, I think he'll outscore him. It just looks like you can see when you watch him play, he just seems way more involved and more accurate than what Salah is. So for me, this is a definite captain choice.
Yeah. It's a little weird that how low he is on the XG table, but I'm assuming it's that little break in between that they had. This XG thing, I really want, like next season especially, I'd like to really analyze it and see how accurate it actually is for picking these captains.
Definitely.
Yeah. But speaking about that, talking about the virus and all that, I mean, I was wondering why they're calling it COVID-19, and I'm wondering, is it like a covert operation to stop Liverpool from winning the title?
Well, I read a tweet earlier on where the guy says if it does go ahead and that the season gets cancelled, a very funny tweet will be COVID-19 Liverpool 18. Look, but I don't want to start all that right now.
Yo, Shane, don't say things like that. Your father will get a heart attack. But anyway, points per match for Mane, 6.7. The only thing I would say that to pick Salah over Mane is I think that the sheer number of shots that Salah takes. But as we'll mention for maybe Fernandes, I'm also skeptical about just number of shots versus accuracy. Moving on to Vardy, I'm like, yo, back in the big time, most sold player in Gameweek 29. How funny. He had gone 7 games without a goal, right? Then he came on in the second half and he taught us a lesson, So am I smelling a comeback or what?
Oh, for sure. For me, look, the only thing that's making it tainted is the fact that they have a blank game week 31.
Yeah.
But this guy here, we've known from the records, when Vardy scores, he goes on a bit of a run.
Yeah.
Scores a few in a few games. So, I mean, the next game is against Watford away. So, you don't know which one. Like I said, we know which Watford's going to turn up there. So, if you have him, I'd captain him. But if you don't, I'd hold off until after the blank.
Yeah. What's his record against Watford?
He's got 5 goals and 1 assist.
All right. Okay.
He's got good records against almost everyone.
Yeah, he does. But yeah, I understand about the game week 31. Excuse me. Moving on to Fernandes, player of the weekend, I guess. He obviously assisted Martial's goal. That was a very clever chip, for a free kick. He probably should have had more if Martial had been a little bit less selfish. He created a total of 11 chances for his teammates in the time since he's come to the United, right? He's clearly improving just the whole United team, right? That 11 chances that he's created is more than it's Madison, more than Moutinho and players like that. So, I mean, he's basically been involved directly in 20 goals. I don't know what more I must say.
Well, definitely, bro. Like we said before, he seems to be the first choice for corners, free kicks, penalties.
Oh, yeah, there's that too. That's important.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, United haven't lost a match in any competition since Fernandes made his debut in the club. So I would say a new coat of red paint seems to be going on the wall. So, I think he's an excellent choice for this week. Hands down, the best captain's choice.
Yeah. In the games he started so far, he's averaging 7.6 points a game. That's very high.
Yeah, he's got it all. His form, he's got a decent fixture. Yeah, he's got it all.
Yeah, the only negative maybe I would point to him is like, if you look at the underlying stats, that's where the penalties are not involved. Then he's actually shooting a lot, right? It's like 3.4 per game taking shots, right? But out of those shots, like 13 shots, right? Only 3 of them have like actually been inside the box. So it does feel like when I'm talking about the smell test, it does feel like he's just taking like some random ones, but I can't say whether that's a positive or negative. Maybe you would feel if you're taking more shots means he's got a lot more opportunity to score. And actually with only Martial being the only other real scorer in the team, maybe that's actually a lock to say it's good that he's taking a lot of shots.
Does that stat take into account the fact that he does a lot of passing inside the box also? So does assists get taken into that? Because I do understand it just seems like he's shooting a bit more than what the stat says here, or he's more involved in play inside the box than what it says here. So
yeah, well, look, I mean, I don't want to put too much stock in that until he's had like a few more games, especially since we passed this. Once you pass the Spurs game and there's the blank, the fixtures start looking a lot more appealing. But United, you don't know if you can trust them. Speaking of United, I just wanted to point out that they are playing a Europa game tomorrow in Austria, but I think that's going to be behind closed doors. So, pick Fernandes as captain. Just hope we don't catch no virus.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'd say Fernandes definitely captain.
Yep, that's a big pick. That's a strong pick for this week. But you would you out of these 3, who would you captain?
Fernandes. I'm still giddy from City. Hey, go United.
Okay, fair enough. I think I'll be a little bit on the safe side, and I'll maybe go for Mane. I'm too scared to.
Exciting and boring. You clearly have a big fat lead at the top of the table. Okay, and for the rest of you out there who don't have this lead like him, we shall go with Fernandes and Vardy and no, not Sterling, Mane.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, that's it for this week. And guys, if you like what we're doing here, make sure to click the subscribe, and then on the notification, you select all to make sure you don't miss a show. Otherwise, if you can leave a like and a comment, especially, we do read all your comments, and we appreciate the guys who do comment every week. It can be very entertaining. Other than that, Suj, cheers, and I'll check you out next week.
Cheers, man.